Alright, I think we should be live. At the very least I'm not getting a message that I'm not live, which I was getting for a bit. There we go. Yeah, I think we're good. Alright, awesome. Now, quickly at the start I do want to say this is my first YouTube stream in just about ever. I've done, I think, maybe 2 of these in my life, and hopefully everything works. I can't promise that everything works. Also, I wanted to say hello to everybody, but I already see that that's not going to be working out too well. So, hey everybody, I'm already seeing a lot of familiar faces, so sorry that I can't call everybody out as I would always do on Twitch. It's just not something that I can quite do, I suppose, with this amount of people. Wow. I'm really shocked actually how many people are already in here. Alright, so obviously you're looking at the title and you're seeing that big 100k subscribers celebration title and maybe expecting somewhat of an actual party or prepared thing going on the channel. I have to be very sorry, none of that is actually going on today. I didn't prepare anything. It was only a little bit ago that I figured that I felt sort of guilty about not doing anything for 100k. I'll get into a bit of a speech and that sort of stuff, so hopefully we'll still have a good time. And maybe if it goes well enough, I might do a little bit more streaming on this in general, and also turn this into a bit of an updates video, because truth be told, I'm not really a very big fan of update videos or any video that's not particularly content in itself, so I try to keep them as sparsely as I can, but every now and then you need to talk a little bit more informally about the state of things on whatever you're doing, and honestly I think I might want to do that a little bit more often. But yeah, to reply to the one question that everybody's been having tonight, I am doing fine actually. Yeah, of course, it's been awesome to hit 100k, although I do have to say it's not really something that I really think about much. It's not something that I really realized today. I suppose it's because it's so arbitrary. It's just a number. It's just a number of subscribers, and it's not too different from hitting 99,999 subs, or whatever number you will. I think the thing that is most amazing about it is the fact that it got so high in the first place, not the fact that it's 100k, which is particularly amazing, but just the fact that it's somewhere up there. It's somewhere in the thousands of subscribers, and that is definitely something that I still think about every day. That is something which I always like to imagine everybody sitting in a room together and thinking of 100,000 people in one single space. Even though that space right now might be the internet and it's just a series of tubes, it's still really amazing, and every now and then I'll think about the fact that it's actually thousands of people who decided to press on that subscribe button and thought that my content was good enough to at least hit that subscribe button and see it on your homepage when YouTube decides to actually show videos that you're subscribed to on your homepage again. So really, thank you everybody, not just for hitting 100,000k in general, but for supporting me, no matter when you came onto the channel, if it was just a few weeks ago or if you still remember Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Just thanks for everybody. And this is something that I don't really say enough, I suppose, but YouTube has changed my life, and the only reason that it could is because I've actually gotten all of the attention that I have on my YouTube channel. Now, to actually try to address the chat a little bit, I'm very sorry that I can't reply to everybody, but I would love to do a little bit of content and maybe do a bit more speeching around the way as well throughout this recording, because there's some stuff that I want to show off as well. Oh, that's a good question. Will I ever return to Roller Coaster Tycoon 3? I will, but not really to play it that much, but I have some unfinished projects that I would like to come back to. I've actually talked to somebody who I did a collaboration with that's never really come out, but it's almost finished, so that might come out. There is an old sci-fi coaster of mine, which is quite large, so that might come out as well. Slow mode is a very good point. I might actually turn that on, thank you. Although for now I'll try to manage. Oh, you sent your design for the Koala Beach logo already. Awesome. We're really looking forward to see whatever's gonna happen, because honestly we had no real expectations or anything, so we're gonna be happy with anything that's gonna come in. Sorry for not noticing you earlier, Sai Real RD, but at least I did now, I suppose. I'm gonna finish Volvara at some point. I'm just not a huge fan of the project, so I'm sort of procrastinating on it in favor of other things right now, but I'm probably gonna go back to it at some point. At least sometime in the upcoming few weeks. That's the plan. Do I think they will make Planet Coaster 2? I'm not sure, honestly. I think Planet Coaster is a game for long-term support, and something which they're going to build on for quite a few years. So a sequel is not really something that I would think about. More the ways that they're going to expand the game and try to keep it as one product that you sort of buy once but gets updated on a regular basis. Would I consider playing Roller Coaster Tycoon World? No. I tried it, I gave it a chance, but it didn't work on my PC, so I don't think that's going to happen. I will be getting back to Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 a little bit. There are some weird questions that I won't address. The next Koala Beach episode was about an hour ago. And this is very much like the Winnie that I built in OpenRCT 2. I'll get back to that a little bit. Is it buffering a lot at the moment? Right, I see. I'm getting the buffering as well. Hopefully it's not too bad. Is that something that actually turns up on the when the video is finished as well? Because this is completely an experiment for me, so I have no idea how this is going to turn out. Thank you, by the way, Stian. Am I saying it correctly? Just say if I'm messing up your name. But thank you. Yeah, the lag, I'm afraid, is something that I can't really fix. The thing is, I really wanted to stream, because it seems like this is the kind of opportunity where you do want to do a stream of it. Only problem is, my internet is really bad. A Planet Coaster series on recreations. I'm not really a big fan of doing recreations, so I don't think it's gonna happen. I do love seeing recreations though, they're some of my favorite things to watch in terms of videos that other people have made, but personally I like coming up with my own ideas more. I'll look at the Yeah, this is bad. The buffering is actually because of my internet. Okay, I'll try to get on this and actually go to speed test. And thanks for the congrats, by the way, everybody. The internet is something which is really terrible and which I can't really do much about, but it seems like it's actually worse than it usually is right now. I actually have the same problems on Twitch. It's completely an issue because of my internet. And we actually cannot get better internet over here. Yeah, that's bad. That is really bad. Oh, it's bad in terms of the Netherlands. There are probably countries with worse internet, so I don't want to complain about it too much, but it sits right at the border where it's technically too bad to do a decent stream. Well, damn it. I'm looking at it as well. It's really bad, yeah. Oh, I guess I gotta pay my respects. Yeah, I'm trying to decide whether I'm gonna try to find out what is causing the internet, or whether that's something that's just gonna take too much time to actually do. Right, in any case, this is not something that I can actually, well, publish, I suppose, in the end. Because the internet is definitely ruining it. Guys, just let me know, by the way, if it's turning down. I'm gonna try to just get into settings. I'm not sure what settings I am on at the moment. Yeah, we're gonna turn down that quality. And I'm gonna start again. Hopefully this should be a little bit better. The thing that I'm very worried about is the fact that it might make the chat look very unreadable, so I'll zoom that in a little bit. There we go. Hey, why are you coming back? Huh? Pardon me? We definitely do not have glass fiber. Is it stable? Now, I don't know why this thing is going crazy. Oh, sending me messages over here. I'll get to that. I think that's why... Right, that's why the taskbar did that. Well, that's a thing I didn't realize either. So yeah, here it is in my full unprepared glory. A Silverhead stream on YouTube. I should have done this more often. Watching it in 720p and I can read the chat perfectly. Alright, thank you. That's great to hear. The bitrate is already very low actually. And I thought I was already streaming in 30 FPS, but that is a very good point. Oh, I'm streaming in 60. Very good point. I'll try to apply that. Just let me know if there's any buffering or if it's fine the way it is right now. I think there's no way to make the lag disappear though. Oh, just want to scroll back a little bit for those mentions. I'll get back to Rollercoaster 3. Thanks by the way, Jordan. I know you've been here for a super long time. Though, I'm not quite sure about 200k. We'll see. I'm not sure if I really live by those sorts of milestones. I'm much more happy with just people viewing the videos, leaving comments, being able to interact. The park map is slightly too small for what I was trying. Oh right, the buffering is widespread again. Right. Well. I think it's working for me. That's the weird thing. Oh no, it's buffering for me as well. Unfortunately, we cannot get better internet where we are. Sorry if I'm not responding to your question. There are just so many comments that it's hard to respond to everybody. But if you really need an answer on it, feel free to repeat it. Do I take in the statistics? A little bit. I hope it's working by the way again. thing is, it is buffering for me as well. Let's go back to the front. Oh, I think I'm good actually. Should be working now. Yeah, to get back to some of the questions that I was answering and sort of got lost on. I do sort of take these statistics into account, although not that much. I generally look more at shaping and stuff, so I won't be shaping curves in a sense to completely get rid of laterals, and I won't exactly be shaping hills for the g-forces. But it's definitely a gauge that I like to use. Do I like socks? Yeah, sure, I do like socks. They are very comfy. I wouldn't be able to think of a world without socks. That would definitely be a less enjoyable world than the one that we live in right now. About a castle building technique for a Planet Coaster College episode. That has some potential, I think. That is a good point. I'll add it to the list of things that I could do an episode on if I don't forget it, but to be honest, that is quite a lengthy list and I haven't been able to update it much recently. And there are still a lot of additions before that, and definitely some very often requested tutorials that I should be getting on very soon. The save file for Eurasia, I do have it. I've actually looked at it recently, but I think it's a... I'm not sure anymore, but I think it's a slightly outdated save file. No, wait, it is a recent save file. I'm just not going to continue on it. I find it really hard to still play Roller Coaster Kid 3. You rode Baron 1898 for the first time today and it was amazing. It sure was. I definitely do remember my first time being the best as well. Have I tried Parkitect? And what are my thoughts and opinions about it? It's an amazing game. I need to play it more, and I need to make more videos of it. I definitely should. How to make a dive coaster? That's a very good point, actually. That might actually already be on the list. Only problem is there are a lot of B&M coaster requests, and I sort of wanted to do them in one larger batch. The most requested tutorial... It might be queues, not sure. I don't really keep a list of how often they are requested, I just sort of put them on an order, sort of randomly, but slightly on order of how often they're requested. Thing is, I couldn't bother to actually keep counts of how many times people requested it and put that in the document, so it's not as organized as I would like it to be, maybe. By the way, has the stream been without issues for the past few minutes? Got any dev response concerning the coaster builder problem? I haven't, but I have been able to pass on my complaints, especially regarding grapefruit. I've done a pretty good lengthy explanation about hardlining and continuous roll, and why it should be in the game, and passed that over to Dale, who passed it on to the team of the game. So it's out there. Yeah, maybe I should get to the coaster itself. What from D23 were you most excited about? I have a strange question. What is D23? Because I feel really out of the loop here. What do I like about Planet Coaster? Well, just about everything, really. It's, I know I've said this way too many times, but it's the game that I've always been waiting for. I won't be continuing Fantasy Valley, but I would love to make a similar park at some point in time. Still buffering. Yeah, that's a shame. I'm really sorry about that, by the way. I wish I could make the internet a little bit better, but it really seems as though there's nothing that I can do to fix it. I'll tell you what, if I find that maybe tomorrow I actually do have decent internet for a while and I can secure that and actually do a stream, I would love to do that. Because this is not really going anywhere with all the buffering, and it really must be terrible to watch. I know what it feels like. D23 is Disney Expo. I feel really dumb for not knowing this, but I have no idea what it is. I mean, I'm getting as far as that's probably the 23rd Disney Expo, but I've never heard of Disney Expo. But yeah, when it comes to starting a new park, building something like Fantasy Valley is definitely on top of my list. A new book, a MacBook, would you think a full-sized RCT3 park would operate it on it? I'm not sure. I've never had a Mac, so I'm not really sure on the Mac compatibility. But full-sized parks, no matter what kind of computer you're on and how good it is, usually don't fare very well in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. A series on recreations is something that I'm probably not going to do, because I'm not really into making recreations. That said, something that I would really love to do at some point is to do some showcases of other people's creations, because that's something that I feel is a way to add to the community that I'm not doing enough. My provider is Access for All, but from what I know, we cannot get better internet over here because of the wires. Okay, even my game is lagging right now. I've already done quite a bit of collaborations with Devinstyle, although I don't think I'll be quite getting into Planet Coaster, like park building collaborations much anymore. I really just want to focus on my own creations in the upcoming period, especially since I'll be probably quite busy. Graf Hugo? I definitely remember that name. The stream is working fine if you lower the quality a bit. Alright, we'll see how it comes out later on. Yeah, the place where I live just has some of the worst internet out here. Which really sucks. I think the only way out of it is to petition to the city council and get better internet that way. But otherwise nothing is really going to change unless there's a massive movement for it. In any case, whoa, thanks by the way, Mitchell. In any case, I would love to actually get to showing off the coaster, because this is something that I've been meaning to talk about for a little bit. What color shirt am I wearing right now? Not sure how it's relevant to the current set of events, but I'm wearing a white shirt at the moment. An on-ride, that's definitely something I would love to go to, but yeah, in a little bit, because first I need to introduce you a little bit to this coaster. It's a yet unnamed wooden coaster. Oh yeah, if the stream keeps dying on you, I'll try it one more times. Fantasy Valley is something that I'm not going to continue anymore, but I would love to start a similar park at some point. So this is a wooden coaster. It's a GCI coaster which I've tried to make. Oh, please don't tell me the stream is down again. It's a GCI coaster which I've tried to make over the past 2 days, and I kind of regret doing it, because I've actually spent 2 almost full days doing it. Just trying to get the layout just right. Not necessarily the layout itself, the layout isn't actually all that good, but more or less the track shaping. The thing is, GCI coasters have a very specific sort of track shaping, and it's one that's nearly impossible to get right in Planet Coaster, and I tried to get as close to it as I could here. But it's still really difficult to get it. So yeah, I spent the last 2 days trying, oh this is not very handy, trying to build multiple wooden coasters, trying to see if I could get some decent GCI shaping. It took me a few ones to actually sort of get the hang of it and see the trick to making it, and even then this coaster got changed a little bit, quite a bit actually, quite a lot, while I was making it, so it took a lot of time to get this one right, just because I wanted all the transitions to be as close to GCI as I could. It's not perfect, but I'm quite happy with it. It's the closest that I've ever gotten to making something that kind of feels like a GCI. I'll explain it a little bit more in the video, because I have recorded it, but the thing that makes it so typical is that it really is, it's very snappy. I would say. Can't I have an LTE box? What is an LTE box? 5 Mbps, 0.4. You can't afford. Oh my god, that's even worse actually. That feels bad. Although at least there is the possibility of getting fiber. Unfortunately, there is not even the possibility of getting that over here. Alright, Nitro, I'm sorry about the unwatchable stream. I'll try to hopefully see what the issue is, maybe fix it, and if tomorrow it is fixed, I'll try to redo it and see if we can get some decent streaming action out of this. I'll just have to do a belated 100k celebration stream. So yeah, about the coaster itself. Okay, that taskbar is gonna be very annoying, but the thing about the snappy transitions is that it, the way that these are made, as far as I know, and as deep as I can go without probably giving technical inaccuracies, is that the track layout is first drawn on a 2D map on a flat plane, and the general layout is done from a bird's eye perspective, and then the height is calculated separately, and then as a final thing the banking is added, and they're sort of with very strict nodes, so to speak. So the transitions are all very sudden, and they're not jerky, they're quite smooth. But you can really feel the transition when you're going from a bank in a certain direction into the other direction, or when you're going from a straight piece of track to a inclined piece of track. And especially between the transitions between curves and hills, you can really find that snappiness, which actually results in some really awesome airtime. Yeah, we're screwed. I'm gonna do a quick POV, hopefully see what it feels like, how it actually works. And if it doesn't work, I'll just have to end the stream here and hopefully get back to it later and get something that's hopefully watchable. It's buffering for me as well. I'll just leave a message in chat for everybody to read, so you know, just in case. My bucket list GCI. Well, if we're speaking of impossible bucket lists, probably Wood Coaster in China. That thing looks really amazing. It's also been one of the inspirations for this ride, although you can probably more clearly see the Gold Striker and Troy inspiration in here. It's slightly terrain based though. New City Skylines, by the way, is a bit of a difficult subject. I'm hoping to get it out soon, but while I've recorded the cinematics already, I haven't got the time-lapse yet. And to be honest, I do want to get into the final stages of Amar City, because I don't really like it anymore. It feels very outdated. Alright, let's get on the coaster and see if this actually works. If it doesn't, I'm very sorry. I'll try to fix these issues, but I'm not sure if I can. My internet has always been really bad, and at best it's a little bit better than what I have right now. So hopefully, while we're on the coaster, it doesn't buffer too much, and I can actually catch up with the chat a little bit, and you can actually see a bit of the POV of the coaster. To everybody who's in the chat and who's watching the stream, I'm sorry about the internet. I know it's a terrible thing to watch, and I know it's painful to have constant buffering. Hopefully we'll sort this out at some point. Terrible thing is, from experience, I can say that streaming for me is always 50-50, whether it's just gonna work or whether it's just going to be completely the way it is right now. So I'm not sure if it's going to work. Maybe I should unpause the game, that might actually help. And for everybody who's just left there, congratulations. Thanks everybody. It's working for more than a few seconds? Oh, great. Maybe just a Q&A. Problem is the lag. I don't quite want to do a Q&A if I'm not sure if everybody can actually hear the answers. I guess delay is alright, but I'm really glad to hear that it's not buffering much lately. Alright, so onto the super fast lift hill we go. This lift hill is a little bit too fast, but I'm trying to make up a tiny sliver for the way too high friction in Planet Coaster, which is my one irk with this coaster. The friction of the Woody in-game is just too high to make an actual realistic Woody. I might do the only 4 meter section thing. This coaster, by the way, was also made with 4 meter sections. Okay, it's lagging for me, but I think it's not yet buffering. Not sure. Ooh, I just love that middle part there. Also, this part that's coming here is really good. IRL stream your setup. That's something I might actually do. There we go. And into the brake run. Which is slightly banked. Thanks Bear, by the way, for that advice. Apparently GCI brake runs need to be banked for the fins to properly fall into the magnetic brakes. Unfortunately we can't have banked block brakes in Planet Coaster, but it works fine enough to have trim brakes. A fireworks show. Well, the good news is the lady designer is probably going to add a fireworks show into Koali Beach. And I would definitely love to see it as well. I've no idea what it's going to look like, or where exactly it's going to be placed, but I can definitely see it be an amazing addition. So yeah, that was the POV. I would actually maybe try to get to some different views as well. Alright, there are a lot of people asking for me to speak Dutch. I don't know if anybody has any objections to that request. It is kind of interesting how people are always requesting me to speak Dutch, just because I am Dutch, and I guess you're used to me speaking English, that it really becomes very uncanny if I speak Dutch. I know that's definitely true for people that I know, that you only know speaking English, but I have nothing to say. It's like one of those cases where people are like, speak Dutch, but they don't actually give you a sentence to translate, so it's like, what should you even be talking about? Oh darn, I really want to zoom in on some of those transitions. The lag is gone right now? Oh right. Oh, that's good. Actually, this part is not quite as sexy yet, because it's sort of drawn out. Although there is a good transition over there. And I do love this part as well. Just the part where it unbanks and goes into that hill. Maybe it's not quite banked enough, but I think it's quite good. And here's a series of very good pops of airtime, I think. The one thing that I sort of tried to undermine the high amount of friction with is the fact that the lower part of the ride is very low to the ground. So at least, you know, it still picks up some speed towards the end, and it has a very similar speed throughout the entire ride. But really, building this coaster on the side of a hill is just about the only thing that I could do to counteract the high friction in the game. Do I hope they will add a water park update? I definitely do hope so. Not sure if they will. I do have a suspicion they might in the very far future. I don't think it's something that they're planning on a very short-term basis, but it definitely seems like an addition that'll be good for the game. Where do I live? I live in a small town near Rotterdam in the Netherlands. It's not a place where you'd ever want to find yourself. It's seriously the most boring place ever, and it has terrible internet as well. Hi, by the way, Flux. Also, yeah, I had to say that. I actually had a comment about that as well, but I watched the Icarus video today, and that was really awesome. I especially love that base that you were making for the tower. I don't know why. It just... the way that everything fits together is so natural. And overall the building is getting some really good structure. Also, Rudy, I've been meaning to talk to you about your hypercoaster, but I'm sure we'll get to that. The ratings of the coaster are really good, actually. I was surprised. It has a 6.7 for excitement, which is not that amazing, but it only has 0.7 for nausea, so that's a really good rating. Although I suppose, oh yeah, let's look at the stats a little bit more. That would be good. Christ, I cannot handle this. Right, so I hope we're in the right car to actually follow the live data. And we're not. That's a shame. Alright, instead of speaking Dutch, do a Flemish impression. That's something you definitely don't want to hear from me. It's really bad. I think the only place where I even hear Flemish at all is watching. Oh, here comes my Dutch phrase for today. I think that's actually quite fitting. Is watching The Slimste Mens. The one in Belgium is just so much better than the one in the Netherlands. I guess Maarten van Rossum is quite alright, and he does have a good chemistry with Philip. But it's no Belgian comedians. They're still a little bit better, I think. So the speed is actually still highest at the beginning over here, and it hits some pretty high G-forces in those curves as well, somewhere around 3 to 4, which I'm not sure if that's too high for a GCI. It feels quite high, but I think it's decent. There's a pop of very strong airtime over here that's not quite yet ejector. I've been told that you shouldn't put ejector on a GCI. Now, I've only written one GCI, but it definitely seems like they never have ejector, so everything is just between 0 and 1 when it comes to airtime. There's a pop of airtime over there as well, where you're still going to like right midway between that 0 and 1, or -1. Thanks, by the way, everybody else who just congratulated me. Sorry I can't reply to everybody, but thanks guys. So this is just boring curves and stuff. Oh yeah, no, actually I do need to show that off. The one thing that's great about these little pops that you have everywhere is that just on this transition, like you'll actually be hitting almost 0 G for a second, and then you come back into a curve, and the G's are gonna be a little bit higher again, but then you sort of come out of the banking position and you have that very small pop, a very slight floater, and it's those little moments between, you know, the otherwise smooth track, which I think makes it a lot more exciting. And even though it's smooth, it at least means that you've got all of these little pops of airtime everywhere, which Planet Coaster doesn't count as airtime. I think it only counts as airtime when it's beneath -1, or no, when it's beneath 0, but not when it's just over 0, which is still floaty. Heidi the Ride has 1 pop of ejector. Oh, I didn't know that. I would love to ride that thing though. I've been watching way too many POVs. Do I want you to upload your custom wooden supports for you? Well, Yeah, that would be amazing. I'm not sure what they look like. Is it a sort of custom support where you replace the original supports of the coaster completely, or is it a custom support structure that you can attach to the existing ones? Because I don't want to put too much time into this thing. I already shouldn't have started this thing with how many things I've already running at the moment. So yeah, coming down here is my favorite part of the track by far. Getting into a curve with some pretty heavy positives, then a little pop of slight airtime. Again, small pop of airtime here. Going over this hill with a little bit of airtime. And finally, this one as well, picking up some more airtime. So we've got like sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 little bits of airtime. And then into a curve which actually has some pretty strong positive Gs. And again, this sort of whole airtime thing. It's all very close to the ground, it's all very low. And they're very small pops, they're not very heavy at all. But I still think it's quite fun. And this last transition is one that I am super happy with. Came out quite smooth actually. YouTube is definitely not my full-time job. I'm still a student. And I don't even have that much income. Still no buffering, alright, that's awesome. Yeah, that rotation trick by Skystorm actually still works really well. Although not in the sense that he originally did it, like he really used it as more of a gimmick to come up with new ways to use the items, because back in Alpha 1 we had barely anything. But right now it still stands as a good way to get exact shapes or textures that you'd be looking for. Oh, thank you, Code. That actually means a lot coming from you. Like, honestly, that means a lot. Yeah, I am very happy with this wooden coaster. It's not something that I want to boast about, it's not something like that, but it's the kind of happy where you just spend an hour watching the coaster, watching the POV and watching it in cinematics, and just... there's something fun about it. I waste way too much time in Planet Coaster sometimes, like very rarely when I'm actually happy with something that I've made. Just watching it and watching it go around. There's something really therapeutic, something really relaxing about it. I'm not sure when I'll get to the Intamin and B&M models yet. I do realize that I've barely put out any Planet Coaster College recently, so I really need to up my game and get back to it. I do want to ride Heidi the Ride at Plopsaland, by the way, but even more than that, I would love to ride Troy at Toverland. That is the highest thing on my bucket list right now. Well, aside from stuff like Terran and what else? Mostly Terran. Hunter, can you not? That's kind of awkward, the fact that you'll actually be able to see everything that happens in the chat. Sorry about that. I know this is very amateuristic. I only just decided to stream, and at least my internet is working. I'm glad enough that I can actually show off this coaster and do a bit of Q&A-ing at all. So, praying for the internet right now. You could have done Troy in the Essling weekend, true. Although you didn't really have a car or any way to get there quickly and easily. I haven't been on Terran yet, but I would love to. I've never ridden the Smiler. That is definitely a coaster I would love to ride as well, but to be honest, Alton Towers is probably higher up on my bucket list to ride Nemesis. Do I watch Coaster Studios or Coasterbots? I watch more of Coasterbots. I think I watch pretty much all of his videos. We actually chat quite a bit, especially recently. I don't watch as much Coaster Studios. Like, there's just too much content for me to come up with, to keep up with, honestly. But I do like to watch them every now and then. His parodies are pretty good, and for some reason I keep coming back to the Versus series. How long in real time does it take me to build a good quality coaster? I would normally say about an hour, maybe a little bit more, but this coaster took me upwards of 6 hours to build. No, more than 8 hours probably. I didn't exactly keep the time, but it took me 2 days. So maybe to build an actual good coaster, you need me to take 8 hours. God, that sounds bad. That's really bad. What's Europe? Right. What is my favorite real-life coaster? I'm gonna sort of have to divide this into 2 categories. As for overall experience, I would have to choose Flying Dutchman at the Efteling, but the coaster part of that is sort of disappointing. My favorite coaster, layout-wise, is definitely Goliath at Walibi Holland. The Voyage is something that I want to ride so bad. It's just that Holiday World is so far away. The worst coaster that I've ever been on is probably Condor at Walibi Holland. I do regret that. That was very painful. Although I do have to say, in a way, it was super enjoyable. I actually found myself laughing throughout the entire ride. Just insulting the person who forced me to go on it and screaming in pain and agony. In a strange way, that was very fun. Not to sound too weird about it. It was just a fun ride. Not something that I would do again, but given the circumstances and given the fact that we were all hyped about Condor being super painful, it was actually a very fun ride. Wouldn't do it again though. Definitely wouldn't recommend it. See you later, by the way, Ruby. I guess the chat is somewhat more, yeah, how should I call it? Keep upable right now. A POV of this coaster. I've already done it a little bit ago, but I might as well in the background. What could be the harm in that? Yes, there should definitely be a keybind for the smooth all button. I built this coaster using the 4-meter method, and with every single mouse click, I was hoping that I could press Ctrl S or something like that. Have I seen Westwood? I remember the name. Is that a park by JLW? I'm not sure anymore. How do I get the airtime hill so snappy? I'm not sure if I could make a Planet Coaster College about this, but I might as well since I sort of discovered a way to do it. Most of all, it's just shaping. The fact that you have 4-meter separate pieces means that you have so much control, but I'll go into the editor mode and sort of show off how I made certain things so snappy, but a lot of it actually comes down to where you use the 4-meter method. I didn't use the 4-meter method, god that's a tongue twister, on the entire coaster at once, but I sort of built a piece, and then stopping right at the transition that I want to be snappy, I stopped using the 4-meter method and sort of skipped that piece. Then I would use the 4-meter method for that piece only once or twice, so that it's still snappy, but it's not unsmooth, and that's how I would usually do it. So it's naturally smooth, but still retains that snappiness. So if you go into the editor mode, for example, is there a coaster type or brand that you want in the game that's not yet in the game? Schwarzkopf. I want it really bad. It's such a classic. It's the classic looping coaster from Roller Coaster Tycoon 1. It's something that a real theme park should have. It's one of the oldest ones out there. It's the first looping coaster. It's the archetypical looping coaster. So I would love to see a Schwarzkopf in the game at some point. Also shout out to Morgan coasters, they are quite nice. Would love to see a Morgan Hyper or Hyper GTX in the game. Togo coasters would actually be quite nice. And otherwise, a new gen Vekoma looping. That's a track type that I feel we're missing into the game. Also mech coasters. Quite a lot of stuff actually. An updated PC College on scenery tips or something like that. I would love to. I actually get a lot of this request. It's a very broad request, so it's hard to categorize it, but from what I remember, it's one that comes up a lot. And it's something that I would love to do as well. Only problem with it is I'm struggling with how to actually contain it, how to give it a format that's understandable, something that you could look for and that you can apply, because a lot of it sucks to say, but a lot of it is just experience and getting used to the pieces and the way that they work. So yeah, I could come up with examples and stuff, but they can really only be used as inspiration and not so much a method that you can pick up yourself and put to use in your own creations. Bobsled is definitely something that would be great as well. Secret Weapon 8 looks pretty good. Oh yeah, but to get back to the shaping of the wooden coaster, I keep getting distracted. What are some good places to come back to it? Right, I think this is a pretty good transition to get back to. So you have to see it as if you're only going into one direction for each track piece. So for this track piece, we're going up. So everything is sort of straight, and you'll notice there's no banking whatsoever, and it's still in an upward curve. Then we transition, and here's the snappy part. Here's where it starts going down, and where simultaneously it starts banking. So it's going down here, it's going down and starts banking, and it's still doing that. And then we're done with that, and at this point we're gonna stop going down like that, and we're just gonna stay at a same incline. We're gonna stay level with the incline that we already had. Oh god, I wanted to pause it there, but didn't quite work, so unfortunately we can't see the transition happening here. But at this point we're just heading into the curve, and it's just a strict curve. The banking changes a little bit because the banking is translated or calculated separately from the track layouts and heights. But it's just a straight curve, and it doesn't move otherwise. And then we straighten out a little bit, and then we actually stop curving here. So here's a straight section of track where you get a little pop of airtime, and then you transition right back into the curve that goes down here. So yeah, you'll be arriving here, going up, and then you'll be pulled down suddenly, get a little bit of airtime while you're also being rotated before you get into the curve. And that's the sort of snappy transition that I was looking for. I don't play Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 very often, but I did open it recently. I just find it hard to still play it. It's a lot less user-friendly than Planet Coaster, and coming back to Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 just sucks. Oh, hi by the way, Chuck. I need to say you did an amazing job on that Star Wars Death Star Strike. That was... When I saw that back then, it really blew my mind. It was one of the best creations that I'd ever seen in the game. So yeah, I'd almost feel honored that you've been mentioned on your workshop, because that was amazing. Definitely one of the rides that I look up to. The Efteling is my favorite park that I've been to. Alright, we're buffering again. Ouch. Yeah, I'm gonna leave as well for the lag, because that's something that I cannot stream with. I just feel bad subjecting you to all of that. Right, it's been a nice test, I have to say, of the coaster. I'll try to do one more POV, but I'm fearing the worst. It's buffering a lot again, yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm really afraid I can't do anything about it. I've barely been to theme parks outside my country, yeah. Although I would love to change that. I'm gonna go to some trips on Germany pretty soon. So I'll be going to Phantasialand, Hansa Park, Heide Park, and Movie Park. Also visiting a fairground to go to Olympia Looping. Because that's a serious, very serious bucket list coaster. Oh, hi Herman. Thank you, man. And thank you, Luca. Do I think Frontier should add scaffolding supports for arrow loops and corkscrews? It would be really amazing. I think just as a simple scenery piece or something like that, it could work already, and it would be a great addition to the game. Right, we're gonna do one more POV. Hopefully the game doesn't lag too much, but we'll see. Actually quite like that transition in the middle of that hill as well. I think this is the less good part of the ride. It's a little bit too slow. I have to say, I actually replaced the first drop with an older one, which was slightly higher, and went into these elements with more speed. So that's why the pacing for this part is a little bit off compared to the rest of the ride. Although I do have to say, especially for this part, I'm actually quite glad with how the pacing turned out. Thanks for all the congrats, by the way, everybody. Alright, so that's that. I don't really have a very soundproof door, yeah, so people can probably mostly hear me talk. I do actually record most of my videos when I'm home alone. But hey, I still live at home, so those are the downsides. Not buffering for anybody else? Alright, awesome. So I hope the POV was fine. Wait, where should Minecraft take me? I have never been to America, but I would really want to. I would love to, I should say. It's just... it's not too easy when your family doesn't go there, and you can't really convince friends to, hey, go to America. So it's hard. But maybe one day. Surely.